What's up guys, Brian Phobos here, back for another video, and we're going to talk about why Trevon James is lying about the 111 Bitcoin hack that happened about a week and a half ago. So in this video, he actually comes out and says that, Charlie Lee, Vitalik, Andreas Antonopoulos, oh, they're talking about BitConnect being a scam and all this stuff, and they're kind of lightly saying that and kind of pointing like, oh, this could be a Ponzi and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, he addressed that. And it's just ridiculous, his explanation behind that, because he's saying that, oh, well, I just think that they're mad or they're jealous or this kind of thing. Now, keep in mind, Trevon uploaded this new video on his old channel that supposedly got hacked. Now, you can imagine, even if you have 5 million subscribers, it's going to be hard to contact Google and contact YouTube and get everything resolved. So that in itself, like, oh, he magically has control of his old channel again. Oh, wow, great job. It's very, very, very unlikely right there. So, but the fact that he's kind of addressing some of these concerns and keeps trying to legitimize BitConnect to get more and more and more people in, it's very deceptive. Then he's actually even acting like, well, it's a good thing I was in BitConnect because those coins, I had $500,000 in loans. And it's a good thing that those coins weren't here because I could have got them hacked, that kind of stuff. So not a very good actor, not a very good liar. And let's get into a little bit of this. So he says he's on the Verizon network. And one thing you have to understand about the Verizon network and all mobile carriers for the most part is that they take a screencast of every call and there's an audio recording of every single call. There's also history of every phone that's been activated on a certain line. So you can look through the history and you can see this kind of stuff. Now, let's talk about, so he keeps trying to say, well, they called in and then they said what my birth date was and that's how they got in. And that's not a validator for Verizon. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, I've got a computer information systems degree. And I'm a nerd. I'm running these full node wallets, mining, all this kind of stuff. And I actually did consulting with Verizon Wireless and other mobile carriers on some of these security issues. There's fraudsters trying to get in accounts all the time. That is actually a real problem. But Trevon's trying to use that and to lie about this and try to almost talk in a technical sense about what happened to him, which doesn't make any sense. And then he's sitting there brushing off like, oh, I lost 111 Bitcoin. Oh man, I just knew it was gone. I moved on mentally. 111 Bitcoin, you could live off of that for the rest of your life. And if you guys obviously know Trevon's story, I went from food stamps to $1.1 million in Bitcoin. Okay, a year ago, you're working a minimum wage job and you're on food stamps. And then now you just lost 111 Bitcoin, and oh man, just roll with the punches. It's just over. It's gone. There's nothing I can do. Yeah, actually there is. You can contact the FBI. You can contact local authorities first, and then the FBI will eventually probably get involved with the whole thing. And if that happened and somebody activated another phone on your Verizon account, they'll be able to see the device ID and the SIM card number for that device that was activated. They'll be able to search to see what other like account that particular phone was maybe activated on previously. And if it wasn't ever activated on the Verizon network, they can subpoena the information from the other carriers to see if that phone had ever been activated on some other carrier, to start to trace down and see who owned that phone previously, who had it activated on their line. Then they can chase those leads down. And then if they contact that person in the investigation, and then they say, hey, we have this situation. Do you still have this phone? What's going on with it? And if they're like, well, I sold it on eBay or I sold it on Craigslist, then they can chase down those leads. They have a lot more information. They can see what tower that phone contacted if somebody else did activate another phone on the thing. So let's just talk about this. So here's the thing. In your settings, this is on an Android device, you have the IMEI number. That's your device ID. You have the ICCID which is your SIM card number. Also, iPhone, same thing. IMEI number, that's your device ID. ICC ID, that's your SIM card number. The SIM card number is not unique. Trevon and these other people who keep saying that they got hacked, they keep saying, well, my SIM card got stolen, or Verizon sent the hackers almost like a copy of my SIM card. That doesn't make any sense. All these SIM cards have a different number. They even expire. If you don't have a phone activated on a network for a couple years, then the SIM card is expired, and then you can get a free SIM card from Verizon. The number is different, but let's say in a store or through a call center, you can activate, let's say, the device ID and the SIM card number in that combination, and then once it's contacted the towers and stuff like that, you know, it goes through a process to activate that phone on that line. But anyway, you could totally follow this down from a criminal standpoint of who owned that phone with that device ID if there was another phone activated on it. Secondly, from a civil matter, if you lost 111 Bitcoin, then that literally could be worth tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars someday. You're not going to just brush it off and say, oh, I'm going to make it back on this Ponzi scheme. You're not just going to brush it off. You're going to try to get down to the root cause. And Verizon, if they did let somebody in who didn't authenticate properly somehow, and there was somebody else that was let in the account, then obviously it could be a civil suit filed against them, and they would probably settle with Trevon for a certain amount, or, you know, give them that money back. Something would be legally, you would go after this criminally first with local authorities and the FBI, and then secondly, you would pursue legal action from a civil perspective to get the money back. So, you know, that whole thing, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's lying out his ass on it. It was all to get views and to sort of spark up the interest, and it did that, you know. But you have to realize who you're dealing with here. You know, if you look into this, I did a video about Craig Grant and Juliana, who obviously Trevon's always hanging out with them, and he's underneath them in BitConnect, and they were involved in this catfish scam with these Nigerian scammers. And this story is so crazy that if you put it in a movie, people be like, oh, this is stupid. You know, this story is too ridiculous to be believable. And, you know, Juliana, she was on 2020, but basically Craig was taking these pictures of her and sending them over to these Nigerian scammers. And then they were pretending to be Juliana on Match.com and these different sites. And then, you know, to basically extort money out of lonely guys who thought they were talking to a hot chick. And then Craig is here multiple times on Facebook bragging about the money he gets from the Nigerian scammers. Nigerian scammers do all the work, and I get a ball of magic money rolling using the pictures I took of Juliana over the past 10 years. You know, it's just, the guy admits to it. There's all this track history of all this evidence of this. So if you guys want to check that out, you know, look at that. But that's who you're dealing with. You're dealing with these scammy, sketchy liars who are deceptive. They know the BitConnect's a scam. They know it's a Ponzi scheme. My recommendation is, you know, don't get involved. Why tie your money up in these Ponzi's when you've got so much price action happening in crypto? You know, this stuff's running away. I'm getting FOMO here on IOTA. I'm going to have to go get some IOTA. I still don't even have any. But so you have that going on. And I think one of the perplexing things about this whole situation is, you know, back during this boom, 2013, 2014, we didn't have these Ponzi scheme kind of things going on because now we have this ICO madness. So ShitConnect was able to raise this extra money through their ICO and pump all this capital into this thing and perpetuate it forward. And then with the crypto boom, it's continued to go on way, way longer than any of us would have ever thought. probably the people who even created it are even blown away that it's gotten to the level. I mean, they're doing these big, these huge seminars or whatever, these huge parties, and it's just like, what is going on? This is insane. Now you have some people that are speaking out against it. But the reason why we don't want this stuff around is we don't want to be regulated by the government. We don't want the government to point to this and say, this is so scammy, we need to step in here and protect the consumer, and we need to shut down this ICO madness. We need to shut down all these Ponzi scheme situation. We need to self-regulate, warn each other about it. If you're going to join something like BitConnect, Laser Online, Chain Group, BitPetite, any of that stuff, like, you just realize, like, they could exit scam tomorrow. You could just lose your money. So one day, BitConnect is going to be gone. I don't know how soon, how long it can keep going. The domain might end up getting seized by the U.S. government, or just, that's probably not going to happen. It keeps going on. And if this bubble ends up bursting, whether it goes up to 15 or 20K or wherever it goes, when it bursts, it's going to wipe out all these others. BitConnect, NeoConnect, ETHConnect, like any of those ones, USI Tech, any of this garbage, it's going to flush that stuff out. And the bad thing about it is a lot of people's first entry into the cryptocurrency space has been through that kind of stuff, thanks to these guys like Crypto Nick. And, we can blame Sonny Decree too, because I like the format that Sonny does, and he's trying to save his reputation by trying to call out the BitConnect thing, but it's like, dude, you're still getting paid from it, and one of the reasons you're able to do the giveaways each day is because you got all this Ponzi money. You were able to promote the Ponzi for long enough that you've set yourself ahead. Now you're trying to back away from it to save your reputation. Guys like Crypto Nick, it becomes a compelling story. 17 years old, teenage Bitcoin millionaire. But the thing is, he never put any money into it. Craig Grant actually paid, supposedly, for Crypto Nick to be in it and to promote it with his link over here. So it's just, he's been set so far ahead now financially, and then, it really is crazy. But the one thing I will give these guys, he has good branding. I like this logo. And, he's hustling. He's putting up videos. This is hard to do. It's hard to put up these videos every day. You can even say the same thing about Craig and Trevon. It's a lot of work to promote your brand and promote that. But you get these guys, and Crypto Nick's even trying to step away from it and saying, well, yeah, I mean, a lot of it was referral bonuses. But all this stuff, it's like, okay, why does he earn $5,000 per day, mining? Or, these different things that he puts on here. Because, $14,000 Hashflare Bitcoin mining contract upgrade. And then it's like, whoa, this guy's a baller. Well, it's all because of this Ponzi scheme. He had all this money, and so now he's able to inject it and all these other things and perpetuate himself forward. So, will he ever back away from it completely? I don't know. He's far, set ahead and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see what happens in the future. But as far as Trevon and Craig Grant go, I mean, you guys check out my video on my channel, and, they're involved in this catfish scam. And the first link here, you can go to that to see this evidence. You can see Juliana on 2020. I can read people. She just looks like she's lying in that video. Like, she won't look people in the eye, saying that she's not involved in it. And then just obviously with Craig admitting it on Facebook and all that stuff. But the story gets crazier, where then she sued Match.com for $1.5 billion. I don't know what's going on there. She got sued for she sued Match.com for $1.5 billion for these pictures that Craig was selling, or whatever, selling to the Nigerians so that they could pretend to be her. Just a really, really, really weird story. These people are shady. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with shady characters, and we're self-regulated. That's a big reason why I'm calling this out. So some people would say, well, are you jealous? Let me ask you this. Are you jealous of Bernie Madoff? He had a $65 billion Ponzi scheme, and he's serving 150 years in prison. Am I jealous of Bernie Madoff? That doesn't really make sense. Am I jealous of somebody who steals a pair of Jordans from the mall? No, I think that they're sketchy. They're dishonest. they're deceptive. I'm not going to do business with them, and they're sketchy. Just like, you know, Craig Grant and Juliana and Trevon. And I just think crypto, I think a guy like Crypto Nick, I mean, he's hustling. He's probably blown away with the success of it. And then it's just like you get caught up in it. And it's just like, man, you got to go for it. This is going to change my life forever. And I wouldn't necessarily say he's a scammer, but I think a lot of the stuff, it does get borderline deceptive. And then these guys like Sonny Decree, I think he does a good job. I wouldn't say he's been a big benefactor of the Shit Connect thing, but I wouldn't out and out call him a scammer. So I don't know, guys. Again, you know, leave your comments below. But I think at this point we pretty much know that 100% Trevon's lying. I mean, you guys have heard from what I said and everything. He's not even trying to chase down the perpetrators, the supposed scammer, you know, the supposed hackers. He gets his old account back. How convenient, you know, and obviously with Craig Grant, all these other people in BitConnects, you know, magically got hacked. It was plausible, sort of plausible, but he doesn't even know how to really keep his story in tune to where it even sounds technically feasible and this and that. So follow me on all social media, guys. I'm at Brian Phobos, Twitter, Instagram, Steemit, YouTube. Trying to get my subs up to 1,000. Let's keep pushing forward, guys. See you guys later.